Another episode of Beyond the Present podcast. I'm Daniel Morgan, and today we're going to talk about overcoming your limiting beliefs. That's very important, guys. You see, most of the times you want to achieve a lot of things in life, but you have these limiting beliefs that tell you, well, I can't do that. And it gives you a lot of reasons. Because I'm too young. Because I'm too old. Because I'm a man. Because I'm a woman. Because I'm from this country. Because I'm from this culture. And this brings a lot of those limiting beliefs that ultimately convinces you to stop bothering. You see, if you do not work on developing your abilities and simultaneously removing those limiting beliefs, no matter what you do, you will always fall short because deep down inside, you believe you don't deserve it and you can't have it. So today, I'm going to help you forget about this problem and start a new life without limiting beliefs. So, how do we do this? First of all, to understand limiting beliefs, we have to know exactly what they are and how we use them in our lives. So when you think about the word limiting belief, what does it, bring into your mind? Obviously, the things you tell yourself that are oftentimes negative, that tend to discuss things that you can't have or can't do. So it has a can't do attitude behind it. And above all, it takes away almost all of your motivation and desire to bother trying with anything else. And these limiting beliefs, unfortunately, sometimes are subconscious. It means you don't have the time or the attention given to your subconscious mind because it's all subconscious. So when you want to bother with something, you say, you know what, I shouldn't even do that. It's really not for me. That's not what I want to do. So those subconscious beliefs will then get reinforced through further experience. And you might reach a time in your life when you're in your 20s, 30s, or 40s and say, you know what? I don't think I can do this. This is just not me. When people say it's not me, what they're really saying is, I don't believe that this is a concept that my subconscious mind can accept as me. So it's not about their abilities, but the belief that they have in this regard that will ultimately compel them to abandon a pursuit that they title as out of my reach. Today, I want to remind you that there is almost nothing in this world out of your reach if you're committed to achieving it, and if you work hard for it, if you devise plans intelligently, and at the same time, if you refuse to have these limiting beliefs. If I wanted to ask you to do one thing to ensure your success for the rest of your life, is to go to war with all these limiting beliefs again and again. They're like weeds in a garden. They keep coming back and you have to go and remove them. If you don't do that, the chances are, no matter what you want to accomplish in life, these limiting beliefs will always cripple your motivation and your ambition. So first of all, in order for you to be able to fight those limiting beliefs, you have to know when they attack you. And the common signs of most limiting beliefs are certain phrases that begin with, I can't, I don't, it is not. So it almost always carries a negative connotation with that expression. So anytime you're telling yourself something negative with a can't do attitude, you are now engaged in that process, in that loop, that vicious cycle of limiting beliefs. So you have to stop, like literally the way you stop and you press on the brake, you just stop. You need to tell yourself, stop. I will not accept this limiting belief. By recognizing that you're thinking about that limiting belief and that you are not discussing the facts, but rather a belief, you get a conscious awareness of this subconscious, desire to quit, to stop, to not to worry about it. And of course, these limiting beliefs have a reason. And the primary reason for these limiting beliefs is to save and protect you. After all, your subconscious mind doesn't concern itself with your happiness. It is primarily done to ensure your physical survival as well as the reproduction of your offsprings. That's it. Your subconscious mind does not concern itself with living a meaningful, happy, or fulfilling life. All it wants from you is to stay safe, to live the longest you could in order to have an offspring. And that's a serious problem because these limiting beliefs sound very justifiable. because they are generated from your own subconscious mind to protect you from the fears of failure, to protect you from the problems and the pains and the losses. And it's really there, supposedly, to help you. But unfortunately, it ends up robbing you of all that pleasure and excitement of living a true life according to your ambitions and goals and desires. And if you don't want this negative belief system to rob you of that pleasure, of that, excitement, of that happiness, then you need to know how to fight it. And you have to understand that this is primarily designed to keep you safe. But understand this. We are not meant to live our lives purely to ensure safety. If that was the case, we had to simply bar our windows, close all the doors, put some covers inside the house, wear our helmets, and 24/7 take cover inside our home. Believe it or not, there might be some people who live like that. You never know. But you and I, we don't ever see these people. Nobody will ever understand them, and they will probably never have a moment of happiness in their entire life. So you don't want to be them. You want to understand that embracing a certain amount of risks and danger is a part of life and needs to be embraced in order to achieve and accomplish your goals. That is why most of your limiting beliefs have to be fought with courage, not logic. That's very important because your subconscious mind is an expert at knowing you and what gets you to quit and to stop. It's an expert at justifying all the things. Well, I didn't get it because I'm just black. I'm not white like these guys. Or I didn't get it because, I'm just too young. People don't take young men seriously these days. You see, essentially, all you're telling yourself are a bunch of lies that your subconscious mind has prepared, and they are very believable. So never try to fight limiting beliefs with logic. Instead, use your courage to face your fear. Because those who have limiting beliefs oftentimes lack the sufficient courage necessary to face what they fear head on, to face rejection, to face losses, to face, failures and delays and problems and everything else. You need to face them head on. And the moment you face them, that fear disappears. You're like, oh my gosh, I was so afraid of losing the match, but we lost, and it's not the end of the world. We can play again. Or I was so afraid of being rejected by our clients, but I just got 10 rejections today and boom, we have an order for $1 million. You see, essentially, the best way to fight fear is to face it. And you will only do so if you put aside that limiting belief that says, oh, it's dangerous, or oh, it's not for me, and to go out there and take action. Understand this, you cannot truly cultivate and develop your ability to achieve your goals without simultaneously having the tenacity and the audacity to pursue your goals with courage and to ignore that voice inside your head that says, well, you can't do it. Well, that's not for you. That's a very important skill. And the top individuals in every field have already mastered this feeling. They know that they should ignore it. Whether they go on a stage in front of thousands of people, or they have to devise a very sophisticated, scientific plan. It doesn't really matter what they do. Whether they're preparing for their next exhibition as a painter, they have that fear. What if nobody comes to my art gallery? What if nobody wants to buy even one of my paintings? It doesn't really matter. All of those top performers who are there, they had to face with that fear, and they had to overcome that limiting belief that ultimately led to them starting the gallery, working on that scientific formula, going on that stage, and so on. And if you want to achieve what you want to do, you have to overcome those limiting beliefs. So first of all, they're like weed in a garden. So when you see those weeds, what do? You just go root them out. So ask yourself, what are my limiting beliefs right now? And think deeply. What are some stories, some narratives that you tell yourself again and again to simply stop bothering? What are some of those narratives? Ask yourself, what are these narratives that I'm telling myself again and again to simply not bother with the pursuit of my goals? Oh, I'm too tall. I'm too short. I'm too skinny. I'm too fat. I'm this, I'm that. I'm from this place, from this neighborhood. And immediately root them out and say, from now on, I will not be using any of these excuses as to why I'm not achieving my goals. Understand this. These are like weeds, and it's your job to root them out. So if you want to achieve your goals, never, ever give in to these beliefs. And instead, you're saying, well, Dan, okay, so I stop believing that I am too tall or too short or too fat or blah, blah, blah. That's it? No, because that's a weed that's going to come back. So when you remove those weeds, what do? You replace them with flowers. So you replace those limiting beliefs, not just in a vacuum, because that vacuum is going to be filled again with more limiting beliefs. Instead, just like you take the weed out, you seek the flowers. So you take the weed out and you place a solid, positive belief about yourself. You tell yourself something good, like, I believe that I can do this because, and you say, well, Dan, but how could I develop positive beliefs about myself? Well, there are two ways to do so. Number one is to face your fears, to take action, and eventually, through persistence and hard work, get to your destination. Once you do that, you will automatically have a proof that says, you see, I did it. And that becomes your new belief. That's the hard, long path. But in the short run, you can still build some of those beliefs by repeating to yourself many phrases such as, I know I can do this. I'll give it my best shot. I'll try it, and so on. Now, obviously, the best approach is a hybrid one where you mix the positive affirmations or incantations with the pursuit of your goal, the action, and the persistence until you get there. Because there's nothing more reinforcing than that feeling of triumph upon achieving your goal that says, yes, I did it. I had doubts, but I did it, which means I can do it again. Because during those future endeavors, when you fail again, you look back and you realize, I actually had the exact same problem before my last victory. And eventually I got there again and again and again. And that allows you to hopefully build the right mindset to pursue your goals. All right, guys, that's all the time we have for. Hope you enjoyed today's program. Remember, your limiting beliefs will stop you from accomplishing what you truly want in life. So root them out like weeds and replace them with the flowers of positive and reinforcing belief systems. All right, guys, have a good one. This was Daniel Morgan, and this was Beyond the Present Podcast.